This is my review of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Okay, so this episode introduces us to a new stand user, and he's interesting. I'll explain that in a minute, but this is probably not so much one of the fun, well, it might be one of the funnier episodes of this series, but it's definitely interesting as well. So yeah, the episode starts off with Koichi narrating to the audience about how they have not found any leads about the murderer and where he is. Even though we as the audience know about him, the rest of the Joestar group has not figured out who he is or where he lives. They haven't figured out anything about him that would be useful as of yet, so they have no real way of following up on any leads. And as Koichi points out in his narration, it's because the guy lives in complete and utter solitude and nobody's ever seen or heard of him. For the most part, people are just kind of worried about what's happening at the very moment and kind of just worried about living in the now. They're just buying things. They're just going about their normal lives. Case in point, it cuts to Josuke, who is suddenly reeling over the fact that he has literally no money. As he reveals in this episode, he had Joseph pay him back for the 130,000 yen he spent on baby supplies. And because of that, he kind of just lost track of. He kind of just thought he would spend some money here or there instead of saving up like he was planning to, and eventually got to the point where he had next to no money. And sure enough, he only has some loose change in his wallet, which doesn't help. But as he's contemplating to himself about what to do about his money situation and is about to leave the bank, he suddenly hears something in the stall nearby, and discovers a stand. Basically, he discovers this little small stand who proclaims that it found a yen coin before sticking it in its head and running away. So and naturally Josuke follows it, concerned about what it is and why it's suddenly appearing before him. And naturally, because it's a stand user, he's a little bit cautious that the stand user himself might turn against somebody and proceeds to chase after it. And as he's running, he runs into Okuyasu, who he discovers was in a similar situation. He was going about his business, buying something from a vending machine, and the stand and a little stand popped out of under the vending machine with a coin in its hand, and stuck it in its crown and ran away. And it startled Okuyasu so much that he spilled a drink on himself and is notably chasing after it because he's upset about that because now his uniform is ruined. And eventually it becomes clear that this stand is actually a colony stand because the units quickly start adding up one after another to the point where there's like 100 of them, and clearly they're all going to the same place. So Okuyasu and Josuke continue to chase after the stand until it reaches a nearby clearing, where it deposits all of the money that it's found in a large pile. At which point the stand user points out how proud it is of his stand, and how thanks to his stand, which is revealed to be named Harvest, he never has to worry about money ever again. And Okuyasu and Josuke are notably a little paranoid because they realize that this guy is indeed a stand user and it's likely he was shot with a bow and arrow, but they don't know who this guy is or what he's capable of. All they know is that he doesn't seem to be concerned with attacking people and is just so far concerned with gathering up as much money as he can find in spare change lying around. But as they're contemplating what to do, the stand user actually approaches himself, and he actually approaches them, and surprising them, it turns out he's not a bad guy. He actually introduces himself as Shigechi Yangu, nicknamed Shigechi by his parents, and is openly a little ecstatic that he made more people like himself and that they're now friends. The Shigechi is just really happy to have made friends and points out what he's been doing. He reveals that the reason that he's just been having his harvest collect any coins that they can find, bring it back to him, and it winds up being a couple thousand in yen. and which surprises Josuke and Okuyasu, and are even more surprised that it all came from Morio. Pointing, as Shigechi points out, he never leaves Morio, since if he goes outside of Morio, he could very well get lost and possibly kidnapped, which is smart. So yeah, and it also implies that that Harvest has a very, very large range, because we're not entirely sure how big Morio actually is, but it's clear that it has to have a pretty big range to cover an entire town by itself. So yeah, it's a pretty sizable range on a stand. And as a token of their newfound friendship, Shigechi actually pours all the yen coins into 2 big coffee cans that he has, and then gives one of them to Josuke and Okuyasu. And while Josuke and Okuyasu are at odds with each other about whether or not they should take the money, eventually Josuke comes up with a pretty smart idea. He comes up with an idea that can actually help Shigechi make a lot more money and make it a lot more profitable for the 3 of them to go into business together. And while they initially don't accept the money because they're friends, they do accept the money as a business fee for coming up with an idea. And then Josuke reveals his plan. As it turns out, in Morio, a lot of shops give out little promotional cards and little stickers that they give out as a reward for spending in over 100 yen or more. And as they point out, it's likely that a lot of people threw those stickers away. And again, and more important to Josuke's plan, they actually pay out if you bring them back. So, which excites Okuyasu and Shigechi, who realize where Josuke is going. If they can redeem those stickers, they can get tens of thousands of yen from it, and they could easily get several hundred. And understandably, Shigechi is excited about the prospect of harvesting all these stickers and getting a crap ton of money, so he goes along with their plan. And he sends Harvest out to search through every trash can they can find, every trash can, every little hole, everything, bringing back anything that could be valuable, not just yen. So, and eventually they come back with a pile of stickers, promotional cards, and lottery tickets, a whole bunch of stuff. So, and Josuke points out that even if there are some that are ripped, they can easily repair them with crazy diamonds. So it's not like there's going to be any net losses by finding ripped ones. In any case, they compliment Shigechi on how useful his stand actually is, and then they go into town to actually try and get them to pay out. And while they're there, Koichi notices them and sees them and wonders what they're doing, and also notices that they have a new friend, and goes to call out to them, but then sees Yukiko out of the corner of his eye and decides to rush off, which, based on the look in her face, she's disappointed a little bit that she wasn't able to get closer to him. But in case, Josuke eventually comes back, pointing out that while several of the stores he went to didn't offer money back guarantees for all of the stuff that they had collected, the one store he did paid out like 60,000 yen on its own, so which is more than enough to make the group happy. However, as soon as he has more than 10,000 yen, which is later revealed by Josuke, but it's the second he has a lot of money, coupled with the fact that Josuke and Okuyasu have been complimenting how useful his stand is up until this point, suddenly Shigechi kind of gets a big ego and a big head. So, and he only pays them like 10,000 of the 30,000 they were supposed to get from it, because they agreed that they would pay half, that they would get half, and it's quickly becomes evident that after a point, Shigechi becomes just as greedy as anybody else. He'll gladly stiff people on their money if he thinks he can. So, and while Okuyasu notably tries to confront Shigechi about him being scammed out of 20,000 yen, Josuke stops him, pointing out that they really don't need to worry, that they don't really need to worry about it, and it's completely fine with him. Pointing out that they have other way, that they can figure out other ways to get money later, and what they have right now is more than enough. So they decide to let it go and just let Shigechi have all the remaining money. However, Okuyasu eventually comes up with another idea, and decides that he's going to sift through all the lottery tickets that Shigechi found to see if any of them are winners. And Josuke notably points out how stupid that idea probably is, pointing out that if they were winners, do you think they would be thrown away? I mean, yeah, most people will probably have redeemed a winning lottery ticket if they have them. I would, and I'm with Josuke on this. I would sincerely doubt somebody would try to basically throw away a winning lottery ticket by accident. But Okuyasu is completely determined to find some actual money, and see if any of them are a winner. And eventually, he finds one. Finds out that it's worth 5 million yen, which excites Josuke and Okuyasu greatly, because half of that is still 2,500,000, which is a lot. Basically, they get to split the two. They get to split it between Shigechi and themselves, and Shigechi is still going to get 2.5 million regardless. So they're excited by that, but Shigechi isn't so enthusiastic. As it turns out, he's planning to take the 5 million for himself and is scheming to figure out a way to keep it all for himself, pointing out that it was his harvest that collected it and did all the work. So yeah. And so yeah, this episode introduces us to a new character, Shigechi Yangu. But it also points out that while he's happy with just collecting spare change around Morio, the second he starts collecting things other than spare change that are more valuable, he suddenly gets a pretty big ego and a pretty big head. And to be fair, that's understandable. He's never made friends before. He was happy with the kind of money he was making, and then the second he makes friends and they suggest a better way of doing things, he suddenly starts to develop a bit of an ego, and slowly just starts to become a bit greedy. So yeah, Shigechi's not a bad guy. I don't think he's not a bad guy. He just wants all the money. As it turns out, the more money he gets, the greedier he becomes. So yeah, this is only part one of a 2-part episode. So I'm assuming that's going to play a factor in the next episode. That the fact that he's suddenly become a very, very greedy, and the fact that Josuke and Okuyasu have just complimented how useful his stand is throughout the episode has just caused his ego and his greed to just skyrocket in the past 22 minutes. So yeah, it's definitely more than a little bit problematic, but I'm sure, but in any case, they're going to cover that next week. So in which case, if you guys did enjoy this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and my review of it, what did you guys think? Let's get discussing over in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord server, link in the description. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and on Twitter in the description below. And also, be sure to check out my Patreon in the description below as well. It's only a couple bucks a month. It really helps me out, and you guys get access to a bunch of cool perks, and I'm always saying thanks. So be sure to check those out in the description below as well. But in any case, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!